The European Union has acknowledged the Taliban's victory in Afghanistan, saying it is ready to begin talks with them. However, the bloc insisted that dialogue does not imply formal recognition of the Taliban in the near future. More on this report. The political structure of Kabul government remains unclear. However, European Union says it is ready to start dialogue with the Taliban. Brussels says that the dialogue is necessary to prevent a humanitarian crisis and a return of foreign terrorists in Afghanistan. In a news conference, European Union's foreign policy chief, Joseph Borrell, said that the bloc will also put conditions for its continual support. Meanwhile, the United States has completed a drawdown of embassy personnel from Kabul, and as the remaining diplomatic staff are assisting the evacuation of American citizens and Afghan allies, Washington hopes to retain a core diplomatic presence at the Kabul airport until at least the 31st of August, and longer if it is safe to do so. Earlier, the United States and the United Kingdom agreed to hold an online summit of G7 leaders over the situation in Afghanistan. The White House says President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Boris Johnson stressed the need for continued close coordination among allies. They also discussed the ways that the global community can provide further humanitarian assistance and support for the Afghans. Washington has frozen Afghan government's reserves held in the United States bank accounts, blocking the Taliban from accessing billions of dollars. For more on this, we have with us Mr. Salman Javed, Director General of Pak Afghan Youth Forum. He's speaking to us from Islamabad. Now, Mr. Javed, thank you so much for your time. Now, the world powers have started acknowledging the Taliban's victory in Afghanistan, but they are not ready to recognize their future government. What is stopping them from recognizing the group?
Well, accepting the victory is one thing, but settling down is another. Taliban may have taken the throne of Kabul, but still they have to prove a lot. The trust deficit that was created with their actions back in the 90s, it will take some time, and most importantly, it will take a lot more than words, some concrete actions to be precise, to start a diplomatic negotiation with the regional and global powers. But having said that, Taliban did maneuver diplomatically. They visited Russia, they visited China. They talked to Iran, which should be termed as the most important and interesting one for their diplomatic recovery. And they were also engaged with the United States of America during the Doha talks as well. Recently, yesterday, the UAE officials have already said that Taliban have won the war and they should be starting negotiating with them diplomatically. So Pakistan and China didn't say, or the regional stakeholders like Russian and Iranians, they didn't say that they won't accept the Taliban regime. But they only said that they will analyze and will declare their position along with other regional stakeholders once the Taliban will settle down the dust in Kabul. So, now, interestingly, all other embassies, they have shut down their operations in Kabul, except four. One is Pakistan, the other is China, the third is Russia, and the fourth is Iran. This, for some, is a political statement by itself. So all is not lost at Kabul, or not all is not lost for the upcoming Taliban regime, but they have to prove themselves before other stakeholders or other regional or global stakeholders may start negotiating with them diplomatically.
All right. Now, Mr. Javed, the Taliban have pardoned all of their opponents and urged the women to join their government. Do you think the Taliban have changed, and whether their government will be run differently than the previous ones?
This is an interesting element because Taliban have changed their strategy very clearly. I don't know about the attitude, because the attitude, like I said before, it will be analyzed, it will be seen through their actions. But they clearly have changed their strategy. It's like that they already had this on the table. They started from north. We have seen it, engaged with the local mushers, the elders are over there, of the tribes situated there, and negotiated the peaceful surrender. This created a ripple effect. This also hit the morale of Ashraf Ghani's team, and they were clearly outmaneuvered by Taliban in this strategy. Perhaps people from Ashraf Ghani's regime were expecting some bloodbath from Taliban side, but so far, Taliban completely went off their previous track record. This is as refreshing as it seems, but it is also concerning. because we still have to watch very closely at how will Taliban conduct in near future, and how in the long run with the political and ideological opponents they will deal with them. With regards to women rights, they have allowed them to come on the media. They have visited the health workers. They have called them to the recent press conference that held yesterday. But what will they do in the future? That needs to yet need to be seen. This can be termed, all these things that they have, all these steps that they have taken so far, this can be done as initial optics. But a long sustainable model to mitigate the situation and allow the women, girls, and professionals to work and go to schools and colleges and universities is something where everybody will be looking at. We have seen in the recent times as well the most, engagement that they have with girls. They need to bring in the female scholars as well from their side so that they may address the issue at large, not only at the metropolitans of Afghanistan, but also at the rural area of Afghanistan.
So, Mr. Javed, how do you see the relations between the Taliban government and Pakistan in the future?
Like I said before, that Pakistan will join the diplomatic bandwagon only when all of the regional and global players will be satisfied and the dust will be somewhat settled down. Pakistan, however, is at the forefront of facilitating Afghans and its people, but it is also important to understand that states don't pursue their interests based on the appearance of ideology of the other party. They develop and interact with each other purely on the basis of national interest. Pakistan may see the prevailing and future threat matrix, especially with regards to TTP and ISIS, and the conduct of Afghan Taliban with them, and may also see how will Taliban negotiate with the political opponents of Afghanistan, and how will they mitigate the situation and bring them on board all the other ethnicities and political stakeholders for a shared power structure. After that, along with other stakeholders, Pakistan may join the diplomatic engagements with Afghanistan and the Taliban government in the future.
All right. Now, Mr. Javed, why did we see such chaotic scenes at the Kabul airport while there was no apparent threats from the Taliban as they conquered the Afghan capital without bloodshed?
Yeah, the tragedy is baffling because people falling from the sky. I mean, this is something very new, very, very tragic to witness. This gave a very negative picture as well, not only of Afghanistan, but of Afghan people, of the United States of America, and of Taliban as well. This needs to be investigated first and foremost, and human rights activists should call on the world leaders and human rights forums to pursue a case against the pilot first, who flew without ensuring that there is no such risk involved for the passengers or people around it. I mean, how could he fly without getting a clearance on these parameters? The chaos, however, can be termed again as an element of fear among the people, which they have for the Taliban, and rightly so, because Taliban's past record may have some kind of fear frenzy that have forced people to leave their country. So the responsibility of creating a bridge of trust is mainly the responsibility of Taliban, with their attitude and with their partner, foremost. Then there are different reports that majority of the people at the airport were from those families or from those backgrounds who collaborated with US and allies during their time period over there and served them during their war on terror. So this also created a fear frenzy for them that Taliban may start a revenge justice against them. But then again, different elements gathered over there, but most baffling was the conduct of Americans at the base, because they started shooting straight at the people, killed almost 8 to 10 people there. People started falling from the sky. So the chaos was there, and it was escalated. It reached to the new heights on the media for the propaganda with the conduct of US and allied forces over there.
All right, Mr. Sulaiman Javed, thank you so much for speaking to Indus News.